From Screen to Shelf.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the From Screen to Shelf podcast. We are super excited. Thank you for bearing with us. We took a week-long break because we've been bringing you nonstop content on the podcast lately. So I wouldn't necessarily say this is a different type of video than what we normally do. It's kind of just our usual freeform content. The way that we're going to be doing this one is, I'm not sure yet how it's going to be titled. So I got to kind of sell it right here. Right? So what this is this is not anything that we have seen that came out in 2024. And this isn't necessarily a top 5 list, but this is 5 movies that we watched in 2024 that came out the year before 2023. And it could have came out in 1901 of all things. Any 5 movies that we recommend you go watch that we've watched this year. That's it. So like our first one doesn't mean it's number 1, doesn't mean it's number 5. It's just generally 5 movies. If you know, we might try and sit here and say, this is probably the one that we'd recommend over others, or like out of all of them, this is the one you probably got to check out. But that is how we are going to format it today, because there's a lot of great movies that have come out this year, but there's also been a lot of movies that came out last year. You know, I've been going through a 2000s horror bender lately. None of them made the list for good reason, but
but I mean, that's what people have been doing the past, like I've noticed like the past 2 years or 3 years, like it's just been this thing of people going back watching like a lot like older movies for the first time ever, like and talking about them. And I've been seeing a lot of videos and Reddit posts of like first time watching this, and we thought it'd be cool to do something like that because we rate stuff on Letterboxd, but we don't necessarily actually talk about like our first time watching, you know, X movie and you know, discussing and processing what our thoughts were on it. And I just want to point out that we're in Circuit City right now because Chase put this up, and it's crazy, bro. 2 things about Circuit City real quick I want to mention before we dive into this video. Chase pointed out the TV at the bottom here. I think it's this
like right under his hand. For the video people.
It's $1,200, bro. And that looks like an LCD. I don't know if that's LCD or I don't think a plasma would have been that small, but it's tiny, and it looks like a 720p television for $1,200.
Dude, and that's not bigger than the monitor I'm using right now. That has to be this monitor. I think is like 43 inches I'm using right now.
Yeah,
it can't be bigger than that. That's not a 55.
The reason I hated Circuit, because I was talking about Circuit City, like the reason I hate them so much, bro, is like they were always just so much more expensive than Best Buy, like always. So if I needed something, I lived like right next to a Circuit City, and the Best Buy was always like 30-40 minutes away, but I was like 5 minutes from a Circuit City. So like I'd always go in there if I needed something, but it'd be like $15-20 more, like a movie or like a fucking cord or something like that. That's why I hated Circuit City, and I was actually happy when they went out. They were so expensive, dude.
Best Buy moves in.
Yeah, man, they were just overpriced, but that's crazy nostalgia, bro. That's nuts. Like, and now we have OLEDs, like $1,200. You can get like if you find a really good deal for a 65-inch OLED.
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays you can find it. I saw on Slick Deals they had a $1,300. I think it was like a C3, not a C4. Really? It was like a C3 65-inch for $1,300. Yeah.
You can usually get those as the annual or like the seasonal events. Like usually during like March, May. Yeah, you can usually get them for at least $600-700 off, but they're usually $2,000 brand new. I'm pretty sure, but. Yeah, that's so crazy, man. And we were joking too. There's somebody sitting in their house right now with the TV that was
still watching that
refusing to upgrade because of the price they paid on it. It just $1,200. I paid this, and this is fine. Sitting this close to the TV, can't even chill like this.
I know, right? You got to be like up close to it to get the resolution benefit. But yeah, so we each got 5 movies, right?
5 movies, yep.
Yeah, and I tried to spread them out, but honestly, like 2 of mine actually came out last year. I was like, let me go for like older movies. I have some older ones, but yeah, some came out last year. So I'm interested to see. You go first because we were talking about this last week, and I think you already had some in mind. So you give me your first pick.
Yeah. So I already lied, so let me go ahead and preface that. I told you that none of those 2000s movies made my list, and I lied already. It's literally the first one that I had up. There's this movie. When I bring it up, start Googling it because it's really hard to describe. But it's a movie called Pandorum that came out in 2009. I watched it literally just a few weeks ago, like the tail end of August.
Oh yeah,
beginning
you and
of
Will
that.
were talking about this one.
Yeah, because I told him, because dude, I remember way back in the Blockbuster days, this movie was just
I remember the
where.
poster was like
Everywhere, bro.
Yeah.
It's just so, like, for our audio listeners, let's say you're driving and you can't stop and look it up, but it's the poster. I think the hands downwards. The poster I'm looking at's different.
Has
'cause I
like
have the
cables
international
coming out of it.
Yeah, it's got like cables, like these black lines coming out of it. And it's got that typical 2000s grunge and just grimy aesthetic to it. And so I was just scrolling and I was like, okay, I need to watch more from the 2000s. That's why I've been watching so many 2000s, sadly. It's just anyway.
Interesting decade.
Yeah, this one's my favorite movie out of the 2000s. That was a first time watch for me. That isn't just a classic, like Saw or anything like that. I think I ended up giving this movie a 9 out of 10. And the biggest reason from it is I actually didn't know this until I was just looking at the poster on Wikipedia right now. But this was produced by Paul W.S. Anderson, and that was going to be how I was going to sell this movie. Because I think you were on, or in the group chat, Will and I were talking about how it's a lot like what Event Horizon really felt like it should have gone a mile for.
Yeah.
Because Event Horizon, I'm not the biggest fan of Event Horizon for my own reasons. It just feels chopped and screwed, and you can absolutely feel the studio interference in that. In this movie, you don't. This movie knows exactly what it's trying to be. And this movie feels like a great blend of Dead Space and Doom. And that's why I fucking love it. It is so interesting. Like, it starts out with this guy in like what would be the equivalent of like a Bacta tank. And the camera is like right above his head. And like he looks up and just starts screaming. And then boom. And then, dude, it wastes no time with the aliens. Like, you get right into it. And it's pretty nonstop. I want to say it runs just shy of 2 hours. 108 minutes, 140, an hour 48. So the acting's really, really solid. The practical effects and the set design, like the entire spaceship that you're on, I'd say it's a lot more claustrophobic than Event Horizon. I'd compare it to the claustrophobia, but a lot more fast paced than the original Alien, in the way that it feels like you have a lot more of these tighter corridors, So it just and it has such a 2000s like Evanescence ass score. And it just you know what I mean? And it's just a time capsule, man. I can't believe I never checked it out. Because when I told Will I watched it, he was like, dude, yes. I watched that like a year ago, I think he said. And it really is underrated. I ended up buying the Blu-ray to manifest a 4K because it actually was shot on film. It is not digital. So
nice. What year was it again?
2009, actually. It's crazy.
Oh,
it's by Christian Albert. And to kind of sell, it doesn't really have, it has Dennis Quaid in it and Ben Foster. So that's pretty exciting. He's your main guy that you're following around. But he did Case 39. I can't see anything else that maybe somebody else would know of in there. Antibodies, Curiosity and the Cat, I'm familiar with to a degree. So that's a couple of his other movies that he's done. He's a German film director. And this was definitely his most popular. The movie ended up doing $20.6 million at the box office with a $33 million budget. With how much I saw this shit at Blockbuster, that
dude,
shit
with the physical media sales, it probably at least evened out for sure. Because I remember seeing that movie, and it's so funny you guys brought that up because as soon as it was either you or Will were talking about the artwork for it, and I was like, I know what you're talking about because I saw that freaking movie so many times, and then in subsequent years you'd see it in the bins like at Walmart and stuff, and it's so funny that I just never like let me watch this movie because I'm like I see it everywhere.
That was my exact thought process. It's like, you know what? Fuck it. You have surrounded me a good portion of my life.
It's
so
crazy.
we're gonna go into it.
Shout out to the marketing team for that movie, because they fucking just like put it down your throat. They're like, this poster
everywhere, and it's really good. So if you're a fan of Event Horizon or Saturn 3, like sci-fi horror blend, by all means, Alien fan, I'd give it a shot. I wouldn't go in thinking creature feature. I would go in thinking what you would probably want out of a Dead Space or a Doom movie. That's pretty much what it is,
Yeah.
Not really, but if you've seen the movie, you probably know what I'm talking about. So
but if you like sci-fi horror, like that, it sounds like it's a solid recommendation. I love
Yeah,
sci-fi
easily.
horror, so like I'm surprised I haven't seen it. It's just, you know what it is? I think, I mean, this is gonna sound stupid, but the poster every time I saw it, it was just like, ugh, like I hate this
Yeah.
poster and I don't want to watch this movie.
Dude, I
I'm
always
gonna
thought
stay
it
away
looked
from it.
cool. It just there was a period in the 2000s where there's a bunch of movies with banger ass cover art, great posters,
Yeah,
dog shit movies, man.
yeah, dude, they really. I mean, yeah, early 2000s had some great posters. Like going
Yeah.
back and like remember what I had in my room during those years, and
Yeah.
there were some really good posters.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gotta watch that one, man. Just gotta get it done because it's like I'm
It's
gonna
on
see it
Tubi.
probably Tubi. I'm gonna go on Tubi, and then it's gonna be the first recommendation probably.
Yeah.
So this okay. So this is the one I didn't tell you what this movie was because you might have seen it, you might have not.
Which one?
So this movie called The Audition. Have you seen it?
Oh, it's by the same guy that did that movie called The Cell.
Is it by the dude that did The Cell? I don't know. Let me see.
Which one?
I'm looking.
1999?
Yeah.
Horror romance. Ooh, yes. Somebody actually, no, I haven't seen it.
Okay. It's
Um,
right up your alley. Which
Yeah, somebody just recommended it to me though, like maybe a week
Okay.
ago.
Yeah, dude, I saw this. So I like earlier in the year, I was going through like this. I think you guys remember. I was just watching Japanese like movies for like a whole month. I don't know why I was just going through a binger. And this, I think Will had recommended it. I don't remember who did, but I think I saw Dark Waters, and then Will was like, "You need to watch The Audition." So I was like, "Cool." It's on, of course, Tubi, like our favorite our favorite application. And I go there and I see this movie and I'm like, dude, this is a really fucked up movie. It's really messed up. And I know that you'll love it because it's like literally the first half is very much just like this. And I'm not going to talk about the second half because that's where all the crazy stuff happens. But pretty much the premise is this guy, he's a older dude, mid 40s in Japan. I think from what I remember, he lost his wife. He's living with his son, and he's like he works for like a media outlet, so like he like does a lot of like screen tests with like actresses and stuff like that. And he's just going through kind of like a midlife crisis. He misses his wife, and he's like, you know what, I want to maybe venture out and get into a relationship again. So his coworker's like, hey, we're screening all these girls for the this like commercial or show or something like that. It's like,
Yeah.
why don't you pick one of them out and like date him? And he does. So he goes through this process. His friend helps him. He goes through this process, and you're like, what is this movie? Because like that's literally the first half of the movie. It's just feeling kind of like almost like a silly kind of romantic comedy kind of thing. It's
Yeah,
kind
because
of
it says romance horror.
yeah, and it's like okay, but then I'm not gonna spoil anything. Obviously the girl, like something's going on with this girl, dude, and like you learn slowly throughout the movie as it progresses. It just starts getting more disturbing and more disturbing, and you're like, what the fuck is this? And there's a scene, dude, where I almost like I wanted to gag, like
Damn.
not out of like it being like violent grotesque, but there's just this gross fucking scene that I'm like, I don't know how anyone thought of even writing that and filming that. Like it was gross, and
Yeah.
it was just bad. And it's just literally I really actually enjoyed the movie. Like coming out of it, I was like, this is something like you go and you don't know what the hell to expect, and it's
Yeah.
a really really fun ride. By the time it's over, you kind of want to watch it again just to see like little clues about who this girl is and like what's going on. But it's, dude, this movie's like right up your alley. Like I'm surprised
Damn,
you haven't
okay.
seen it. Like really,
Yeah.
I think you'd like it. The first, if you can kind of get through the first half where you're like, what is this movie trying to do and what is it? And
Yeah.
start getting to like this disturbing shit. It's crazy, dude. It's pretty gnarly by the end. I think
Interesting.
it had some. I think if I'm looking at the Wikipedia, there was some controversy when it came out. For
Yeah,
like
that's what I was
the
looking
final
at.
sequence response. Yeah. So like at
Yeah.
the end, it was pretty controversial with like I didn't feel like it was like super crazy, but I mean I guess at the time it was. But yeah, dude, I mean that movie really stood out to me this year. Like I don't think I'm gonna put it in my top 10 or anything from like what I've seen this year. But
Yeah.
I mean it just
What a good
really stood out.
recommendation.
Yeah, it's a good race, especially for you, dude. I really think that this is, out of all these movies I've seen that I'm gonna list, this one you definitely need to watch. Like maybe we should do a versus for it.
On that one?
Yeah.
You've
I'll
watched
probably
Videodrome, I'll watch that.
Yeah, I think we could do that.
Okay.
I think that'd be cool.
I mean, Quentin Tarantino on the Wikipedia, because I was reading it, included
Mhm.
Audition in his list of the top 20 movies released since 1992, which is the year he
Really?
became a director, referring to it as a true masterpiece if there ever was one.
Oh
Were there
wow.
feet in it? Did it show feet? Is that why?
You know what? You and my buddy say the same thing about him. He says the same thing. He's like, "What is up with Tarantino and feet. Like I think he was watching. Oh my god, dude, it's my least favorite one. What's the one with the car? Death Proof. Yeah. Like with
The
the
stunts in that
girl.
are crazy.
Yeah, no,
dude.
that's crazy stunts. But I mean, the girl has her feet hanging out the car, and it's like zoomed in, and he's like, "What the fuck?"
It's like
Why Tarantino?
One of the reasons I can't forgive it is because what is that, From Dusk Till Dawn with Salma Hayek? It's
Yeah.
like, dude, because I'm pretty sure he wrote the script or he had a hand in the script. It's like, there was something behind the scenes where he's like, I have to put her feet in my mouth.
Let me please do this right now. Yeah.
Yeah. We got to make a slight script alteration. Selma, your toes in my throat right now. Director, roll.
But yeah, dude, I didn't know he liked
though.
that movie. That's kind of, I got to read about that. That's crazy. Yeah.
I was just reading about the reception of it. Because I could have sworn that it had a remake, but I guess it didn't. The one I was getting it confused with is the one that just got announced a 4K with, which is The Cell with Jennifer Lopez.
Oh, it's Jennifer Lopez. I haven't seen that movie. That's another one where I saw the poster a million times and I was like, I don't want to watch it. Like, I really don't. I don't know why. I just didn't want to watch it. But yeah, I mean, shout out to Will because he recommended that one to me when I was kind of on this binger. I think what had happened was I saw Dark Waters and then that came up as like a recommendation. And then I texted you guys and Will was like, "Oh, bro, you need to watch it." And I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like, and then that's when I saw it. So it's a really solid movie.
Hell yes, that is a great recommendation. So my next
number
one
2
is hot off the heels. For people that have been interacting with me in the Discord, they're about to roll their eyes for this one because The Substance just came out, and as I said in my review, I don't think it's necessary. I still need to marinate and watch it a second time. I don't think it's the best movie that's came out this year, but I do think The Substance is my favorite movie that I've probably seen in the last year and a half, just on pure everything. So I wanted to take this time because before I even knew The Substance came out, I think it was around January or February, I watched a movie that's on Shudder called Revenge, which is by Coralie Fargeets, who did The Substance. It was her first movie and it was a Shudder original. So it starts Matilda Lutz, and it really doesn't have that many other big names in it. It's like pretty much a cast of 4 people, right? So Revenge, if you look up the synopsis, it sounds like something that might have like trigger warnings attached to it and stuff, but I can assure you.
Yeah, I'm reading it right now.
Yeah, it doesn't show anything. So, Coralie, she's I admire her as a director because she isn't afraid to push limitations, but she also understands what insinuated violence means. Sometimes the mind is more powerful than anything I can show you. Your mind is going to make you more uncomfortable than really anything I can do that already hasn't been done. So skip forward past that, past the setup and stuff like that. So this woman's at this, she got invited by this married man, friends come over, and they're essentially like these big time hunters and stuff like that. One of the big guy leaves and stuff. She gets sexually assaulted by one of the friends. And then the guy comes home and pretty much tells her like, hey, that fucking sucks. Like, men are men is essentially what he says. And dude, it's just one of those scenes that makes your fucking blood boil and you want to punch the TV. It's like, but so what ends up happening is an attempted assassination on her and they leave her for dead, or so they think. And this is one of those movies where the person ends up becoming more deadly than the people from the beginning. And I, after watching this movie, really want her to fucking play Tomb Raider, man. I really want her to play Lara Croft. Because they're in the desert, so I think they're somewhere in Nevada, honestly. So they're like in the desert. So like whenever she's left for dead, she's not left for dead like, hey, grazed you in the shoulder with a bullet. Like, bro, she's fucked up, and this is like the first 15 minutes that I just gave you. And, it runs about an hour and 40 minutes. So she has to go into pure survival mode. And once they realize that she's alive, it becomes a game of cat and mouse while she has all of these life-altering injuries. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just genius, man. Like, she's a fucking savage. And I've recommended people that went and watched The Substance to check that out. Again, it's streaming on Shudder. It is a Shudder original, not a Shudder exclusive, so you will have to stream it on Shudder. There is a Blu-ray release for our physical media aficionados over there. I think I got it for like $5 off Hamilton Books one day. Okay. So I gave that movie a 4.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd.
Wow.
That's how good that movie was. And the 3 people I've recommended it to since gave it a 4.5 as well.
Wow. What year was
So,
it?
2021.
Okay, so not that far off.
Very low budget, but very well done. It's like it's one of those movies. It's kind of like
2017.
Oh, is it? Oh shit.
Yeah, 2017. It is a low budget. You were right. It's like fucking. Oh, it only made under $1 million for the box office. I don't know what the budget is.
Yeah. So it probably wasn't made for Shudder, but Shudder post release acquired it like they did Skinamarink.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, go check that out. If you've got Shudder, come back later. Go watch it right now.
You can. Yeah, I was planning to get. I need to get Shudder, dude. I just don't want to pay for it like all year, but like especially with like
I'll just log you in on mine.
Season.
I've told you that.
I know, but I'll get it for. Oh, you get the annual? Yeah, I might do it for October, especially just because there's so many movies on there I want to watch.
There's a lot of good stuff. They had the original Speak No Evil and stuff like that. That's a Shudder original. Shout out that. But yeah, definitely check out Revenge. What's your second one?
That looks solid, dude. Hold on, I'm adding it to my little
your watch list
playlist. Yeah, a little watch list playlist thing here. Cool.
It's really good.
Second one. Let's see. I didn't have a second one. I mean, I have them all here. I'm trying to think which one to
talk about next.
Yeah, let's actually do this one, dude. This one, and I think it's appropriate just because the Criterion's getting released. 8.5. I've never. I saw it earlier this year. Just and it's been on my radar for a long time because tons of people have talked about it and said like it's like one of the best films like ever. Yeah, one of the best films ever made. And it's from an Italian director. His name's Federico Fellini.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, I might be butchering his name, and I'm sorry if. And I need to read more about him and his filmography and everything like that. You'll actually like this movie too, man. I really think that you will. I could be wrong.
I love shit from the 60s, man. Anything and everything.
Yeah, I mean, this movie it is so. It's hard to even describe it in a way. I mean, the general story of it is pretty much there's a director who's kind of going through like writer's block and like a midlife crisis, pretty much. And he's like developing this film. Everyone's like nagging him throughout the whole movie, like or the development of the movie, like like, hey, what is the story about? What's the screenplay? The actress is like, what's my motivation? What's the story? He's not telling anyone anything about the movie. Meanwhile, they're building up all these props and shit about like set pieces, and really he has no idea what this movie's about. He's just kind of going with the flow. Meanwhile, while all this is happening, he's having just a lot of like personal shit going on, like with his marriage and with his with his past, like stuff he's remembering, like total midlife crisis. But what's interesting is just like a lot of what's going on. There's these intermittent dream sequences, dude. And honestly, the opening of the movie, I'll even say this, the opening of the movie has one of the best dream sequences I think I've ever seen in a movie, which and it's just dead silence, black and white, but the way it's filmed, it's fucking gorgeous, dude. And this has some of the best probably editing I've seen in a movie in a long time.
Damn.
The transitions between like the dream sequences and just like the real life stuff that's going on. It's like absolutely flawless. I don't think it's like a perfect movie. It never reached like 2001 levels to me. But it is a really, really good movie. Like I walked out of it like thinking, I wanted to go back and look at all the movies I've watched since this one that I've been influenced by 8.5. Because I was thinking this whole time, I'm like, oh my God, there's some Kubrick in there. There's this, there's that. Like you can just tell that this movie influenced tons of people. It's just beautifully shot, dude. And it's just a really, really solid movie. And it's hard to describe because it's just so, I don't know, artsy in a way. I guess you know what I mean. It's not like a linear narrative where you can kind of just describe what's going on. It's definitely kind of ambiguous with what happens on the screen, but it's probably one of the best shot movies that I've seen like ever in terms of just like cinematography, lighting, transition, editing, all that stuff. And I know Criterion just released the 4K for it, so
yeah, it's coming out the same month as No Country, right? December of this year.
Now I said I wasn't going to spend more money, but now I'm talking about 8.5. I kind of want to watch it again. It's just really a good movie, dude. Really, really good movie. And it's like, and I know you're a fan of Italian cinema. Just a lot of,
I love it.
Yeah, like you're a big fan of it. So I think you'd really, really like it. It's just shot so well, man. Like they were doing something in the 60s that just really resonates like decades later. So I had heard everyone talking about this movie earlier in the year. I was like, I gotta watch it because it's like on an absolute classic, and everyone has it on like their top 20 list. But very, very good movie. I think you'd like it.
Yeah, I'm looking at his filmography on here. I mean, dude has so many writing credits and at least 15 plus directing credits, but it seems like almost north of 25 writing credits. Dude was on an absolute tear from 1942 to 1990. His last movie, The Voice of the Moon, which I've actually heard of it. It seems like he has a lot of these like comedic blended based movies. And that's kind of what it's saying is like fantasy comedy, which is an interesting
That's a good way to describe it. Yeah, it's like there's a lot of funny parts in this movie that it's like it's funny, but then it gets serious, and then it's like, the dream sequences are like, the fantasy part of it. Like he just blends everything together really well, and it just doesn't stop. Like from the beginning of the movie, it's just it just trucks forward, and there's never any pacing issues. It's just if you just want like a really artsy, well shot movie, you just want to see something that's like really beautiful to look at, I'd watch 8.5.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, that looks amazing, man. Yeah, dude. It's crazy you brought that up because like whenever I saw 8.5, I've heard of it, but I was like, damn, Criterion getting this. Looked into it. So I mean, that's awesome that you watched it and you're able to explain it, because I'll definitely end up getting that. Because I'm definitely getting No Country for Old Men after you had me watch that. And so that one will be a really good one. So yeah, shout out that movie. And then also shout out something Gabe told me. If you don't want to wait for the top of the summer of next year for a half off Criterion and that movie is interesting you, head on over to orbitdvd.com. They have that month's Criterion collection pre-orders for only $33.99.
Oh, they have 8.5 as well too?
Yep.
Because I just checked. I ordered No Country from there, and it was, $33 for the 4K, which is crazy. And then I didn't check for 8.5.
Yep. With what I'm seeing right now, let me pull it back up. Yep. $33.99.
That's awesome.
8.5.
They're great, man. I mean, I know that. I mean, you sometimes have to wait just a little bit, just to get it. But I mean, honestly, for the price, like that's totally worth it.
Yeah, they're really good. Usually about 5-day turnaround time, and they usually ship it early.
Yeah,
but yeah, so hell yeah.
Orbit DVD, man.
All right, I'm deciding. All right, these next two are very low budget movies.
That's fun.
Yeah, one of them is actually from shout out Brad again from TerraVision. This is actually the first title that they have released ever. It is a Chris LaMartina movie, which TerraVision over there, they love him. They're about to put out a 4th movie by him for WNUF 2, but today I'm going to be talking about WNUF 1 because this movie is just crazy how it got made today. It is wild. Let me give you guys a little bit of backstory about Chris LaMartina. I've managed to have the time to talk to the guy, and he's a very, very sweet individual and very passionate about the horror community. But he made his first horror movie when he was 13 years old called Amerikill, which I own. Quite crazy to be 13 years old to write, direct, and star in your own horror movie. That was actually pretty okay,
That's dope.
Shot on video. So what WNUF is, it's not really hard to describe. It's easy to sell you on, but it's hard to give you like a synopsis of it. So essentially it is a mimic of a public broadcast special that would have happened in like the 70s, 80s, possibly the turn of like the early 90s. And it's very staticky. Imagine something like you'd get off of a public broadcast station like PBS and stuff like that. Or whatever the equivalent is, BBC if you're a UK listener, whatever your local network for just free programming would be. So essentially, this is set up as like it's Halloween Day and a public broadcasting station is just doing a Halloween special. It's got the grain. It's got the weird lines that'll happen. It's got the static interference. It's got everything, man. It genuinely looks like a home video that your parents just absolutely loved this shit for some reason and just popped it in, hit record on the tape, and you found it 20 years later. That's exactly what it is. So it's even got fake commercials to pad out the 90-minute runtime, dude. Yeah. So they'll be like, we'll be right back after we hear from our sponsors. And then it's got these goofy ass commercials in them. But it's all about like this like watered down public broadcast variant of these like horror specials. So you've got like this guy doing this thing, and then you follow this I forget the exact name of it. I just saw it a few months ago. But your main reporter in here, he is actually trying to investigate an exorcism, and shit hits the fan pretty damn quickly. Like you get so excited seeing his parts in that series or in that movie, because every time it goes to him, his life is changing, bro. Like he's going through some shit. You'll just have them and they'll be like, I forget his name. They'll be like, well, yeah, that was Rick. So today on the weather, it's just so great. dressed up
And
as
this,
Dracula.
what year was this one?
2009.
2009. Holy crap!
Yeah. And they're putting out WNUF 2 as well. Do not hesitate. As of the time of this recording, and by the time that you hear it, you'll have one day whenever you hear this recording to go onto TerraVision's website and get it for only $19. They're throwing a massive sale over there on TerraVision's website, and I love being able to support this label any and every opportunity I get. They're losing their warehouse on a last second's notice, and they have to vacate by November 1st. So almost all of their stuff is anywhere from 25 to 80% off. So
Wow.
yeah, dude, I bought almost every single one I needed for like next to nothing, man. It's pretty crazy. So go over there, support them, and if you end up becoming a fan, they also do have WNUF2. It did just sell out, so if you go on there and you see that WNUF2 is sold out, or maybe I'm just now breaking the news that WNUF2 exists and you want it on Blu-ray, that's the LE that sold out. They're going to do a standard. Don't stress. Wait a little bit.
Okay.
You'll see a standard. That's just the Arrow LE equivalent. So shout out TerraVision, shout out Chris LaMartina, and another recommendation if you like that style, TerraVision also has President's Day on there as well, also by Chris LaMartina. So that one's not as good to me as WNUF, but the passion is definitely there, and that's the one that has Amerikill on it. So shout out that and WNUF. It's got a massive following behind this movie, dude.
Yeah, I'm seeing it had
It's
like a
crazy,
like almost like a cult following after it came out.
Yeah, and I can see why, dude. It literally just feels like a home video. Like
that's pretty cool. That's just a cool
artifact.
concept in general.
Yeah,
just
dude.
like, you know, because like that, especially. And what was that movie you told me about? I think that was a Shudder one. You had mentioned it earlier, the one with like the kid staying home alone, and like, remember, like the dad doesn't come back home and the windows are leaving the walls, like nothing's happening in the movie. Will hates it. Skinamarink. Yeah, that one. Yeah. I always say as soon as I say Will didn't like it, you remember which one.
I'm like, yep.
Yeah, just like stuff like that where it's like super nostalgic, where it's like just like a VHS, and you're just like, it makes you feel like back then, like, because that's what my parents would used to do. They record fucking like stuff on like HBO or whatever on the VCR or whatever, and then just be like, okay, like here we can hit play on it later, and you could watch it, and that's that's a pretty cool concept.
Yeah, it's super awesome. And again, I haven't seen the sequel. I blind bought it. I'm going to be watching this every single year going forward. So I can't recommend it to anybody enough that likes like independent, small time horror.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's a solid one.
Yeah.
So we are on number 3, right? Let's do this one, man. This is the first year that surprisingly I had seen Whiplash. Have you seen Whiplash?
Wow. Actually, no.
No. Oh crap. Okay.
I figured that'd be one that you gave me shit about.
Yeah, no, it was one that I just don't know why it just took me so long just to get to, because I had heard amazing things about it. So directed by Damien, I always butcher his name. Chazelle, I think is his last name. He's done a lot of really good movies. Yeah, he's done a lot of really good movies. I'm going through his filmography here. The for me, like something that I loved that he did 10 Cloverfield Lane, which I really enjoyed. And then he did, I thought he had done this other movie I did. I think it was called like Nature of Violence or something like that. I thought he had done that movie, but I guess not. Oh, he did La La Land, First Man.
Oh, gotcha. Him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a really solid director.
Yeah.
This movie, dude, it's crazy, man. Like, I don't, have you heard, you pretty much know what it's about. Have you heard of what it's about? Or
I just know it's about a drummer and a teacher, nothing else.
Yeah, drummer and a teacher, dude. So like, if you want a movie about obsession, like, and just like pure obsession at trying to be the best at something, but like, and I'm talking about not like your sports movie where it's like I just want to be the best basketball player or whatever. I'm talking about like obsession to where it's like psychologically something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Like, this is the movie
on Miles
to watch,
Teller's character or JK?
Both of them in a way. Like, they kind of play, that's why they play off of each other so well. So I mean, this kid, he just wants to be like, you know, the best drummer. He wants to get into the best school, be the best drummer. And the teacher, dude, he is an emotionally, psychologically abusive teacher, even physically abusive in a way.
I've seen clips of that where it seems like that.
Dude, J.K. Simmons, like, this is probably my favorite J.K. Simmons performance I've ever seen. Like, literally, it's so many of these scenes, dude, just make you feel like the best way I could describe it is like you're in a classroom and one of your friends are getting in trouble and they're getting screamed at, and you're just like kind of there and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, you're like, shit, what do we do?
Yeah, like that's the feeling I got in this movie. It's you feel like you're another student in the classroom and J.K. Simmons is just fucking yelling in your face. and you're just
Damn.
like, oh my god, dude, like this movie is just anxiety and tension. And it just builds throughout the whole fucking movie. It just keeps getting worse, dude. And it boils up to the, and I love the way it ends, because like a movie like this, I think it's just really tough to end it in a particular way, and the way he did it was just like chef's kiss. It was like
Yeah.
awesome, dude. It's an amazing fucking movie. And I mean, Miles Teller has a great performance. I think he does a really good job, but J.K. Simmons is the one that stands out, dude. It's just so psychologically and emotionally disturbing. There's so many twists and turns with it. It's a solid recommendation. I don't know why it took me so long to watch it, because I heard so many good things about it.
Yeah,
And then when that Steelbook came out, I think a lot of people were talking about it.
Oh, and you just went and saw it for the So okay, did you just go out and see the re-release, or you saw it like streaming earlier this year? Because it's currently in theaters again.
Oh no, I didn't see it. Oh shit, that would have been great to see.
Yeah,
No,
remember
I
you were
saw it
texting me
earlier in
about
the
it.
year.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah, it's right now. This weekend, right now, it's in theaters. Or as of us recording this weekend, it's in theaters.
Damn. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So it's only this weekend.
I'm not sure actually. I just saw a lot of
Say,
people
if you
in
get
the
a chance
Discord
to
talking
watch
about
it, if it's like still playing this week, dude, it's worth. I'd go see it theatrically. That's how good it is. It's a solid, like, I'd give it a solid like 9 out of 10. Like it's such a good fucking movie. Highly recommended.
Yeah.
You like it too, honestly. Out of these three, so like, what I give you? Audition, 8.5, Whiplash. I think you'd love all these movies. I think you really would.
They sound really up my alley to the fullest extent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, 8.5 Whiplash. I don't know why. I don't necessarily love Miles Teller as like an actor, but I
don't
love
either.
J.K. Simmons. I think he's talented. It's just he's
kind of
not
like flat.
Yeah, he's like how do you say, he's not a movie seller to me. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, for sure.
J.K.
And
Simmons though is, you know,
he is 100%. He's the one that honestly sells this movie. I mean, Miles Teller does
yeah.
a great job, but like honestly, J.K. Simmons, and I think he maybe won an award for this. I don't remember, but like just one of the best performances he's given. It's just so fucking disturbing and messed up.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So solid movie, man. I really enjoyed it. That's my number 3.
Great pick. I definitely need to check that one out. I don't know why. I love drums. I love music. It definitely is up my alley. So
yeah, you'd like it.
Let's see. I've got 2 left. You know what? Let's end it on an absolute high note. And let me throw something out there that's a very particular recommendation. So there is yet another Shudder original. By the way, the reason why I brought up 2 Shudder originals is I watched their entire catalog this year.
We're trying to get sponsored by them. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we're trying to get sponsored by ANC Plus and Shudder.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of shit, and they've got a lot of great movies. This movie isn't something I would give a 9 or a 10. I think I ended up with an 8 out of 10, and I probably liked it more than other people do. Not anybody that I think I have like 120 followers, 120 people I follow on Letterboxd. I think I'm still the only one that's logged it. But it's a movie by John and Zelda Adams and Toby Poser. They're a trio that have done a few movies, but this one's called Hellbender. And it came out in 2021, but it released on Shudder February 24th, 2022. The poster just goes fucking crazy. I thought I was in for like a satanic type of thing. And again, it was just something I turned on during my workout. And the score is what just absolutely reeled me in. If you're more into like not death metal, but you like more rock, you like this, you like those, grungy, if you grew up in like the late 90s, early 2000s, you're used to like Lamb, Evanescence, and that type of beat and, that kind of stuff. This has that same kind of vibe to it. But essentially excuse me, I keep burping. It's probably because I kept chugging that soda while you were talking. So there's this girl, it's actually the person that directed it. She plays the girl, the main girl that's on the poster, Zelda. So her mom moves her, and like she's never lived around people. She's always been homeschooled, and she's never known why. And so she's just a very like weird kid and everything like that. She sneaks in after she moves in. She's just walking around, and this like the first 5 minutes, she's walking around. She finds this girl in the pool, says hi, everything, goes home. And then she comes back and she ends up trying to make friends with the girl. And there was this thing that her mom had always told her growing up to never eat necessarily. Don't eat anything alive. You don't eat meat. You're vegetarian. You don't do this and you don't that. So they're playing truth or dare, and she's told to eat a cockroach, and she starts freaking out after she eats the cockroach. She's not because of the taste, but she starts being different. And it ends up being because they're a part of an ancient race called Hellbenders. And shit hits the fucking fan after she eats that cockroach, man. That's like the first 10 minutes, dude. It's not for everybody. It's definitely low budget. I would describe it as one of those extreme slow burns. Like House of the Devil. If you like House of the Devil and you like a very eventful last 10, 15 minutes, you'll like this movie, regardless of whether you like cults, whether you like creature features or whatever you kind of like, you know?
Kind of like folk horror-ish at all? Like, is it like
very much
like
so.
The Witch kind of, like where it's just
kind of a little bit, I would say add a little bit more layer of mysticism to that than what you would typically find in folk horror. Like I'm talking about like a little bit of magic, you know what I mean? Like a little bit of sword and sorcery logic into that. And that'd probably be the best way I'd recommend it. It's a folk horror with a little bit of sword and sorcery, but not because of the setting. It's just a modern day movie, you know?
Gotcha.
But it's just got those magical mage type of energy in it. And it's really fun. They had another movie I was super stoked for. It just came out called Hellhole. Just came out 2 weeks ago. You can definitely skip that one. It just wasn't it. Yeah, it had some cool practical effects, but Hellbender, I loved it. It's screw. I'll throw out another TerraVision title. It reminded me a lot of this movie called Welcome to Hell that TerraVision put out, and it's actually a Norwegian movie. And it's about like these devil worshippers and stuff like that, but it almost has like a very similar play and cadence to it to a degree. And that's probably why I liked it. They both inherently aren't that great of movies. They're just very interesting. And I think they're worth the 90-minute runtime. You know what I mean? I think pretty much I'll take a gamble on most movies that are under an hour and a half because, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty solid runtime.
Yeah, at worst, it wasn't really a waste of my time. You know what I mean? Now, a 3-hour movie that's a waste of your time, that's a waste of your fucking time at that point. You know what I mean? If you don't like it. But 90 minutes, I think I can get by. So Hellbender, again, another Shudder original, only on Shudder. Definitely check it out. Again, not for everybody, but if you like House of the Devil type vibes, Witch, again, I'm not trying to, those are like up in their class. I'm not trying to sell them as being that good. It's just I'm trying to give you like kind of
compare
the pacing,
the atmosphere and everything.
Yeah, it's very similar.
The poster looks pretty dope. I like the poster.
Yeah, it does. It is cool. Very simple and effective.
Huh. I gotta check that out. Yeah, but that was the box office, so it only made 70,000. I wonder what the budget was for it. What do you think? Like probably like under 50 or something? Under 50?
No, I'd say at least 200K or less because the ending definitely has a lot of effects in it. That's where all the budget went. Because there's actually been some French websites. Wait, hold on. 1.29 million.
Wow, really?
Based on what I'm saying, and they should totally spoiler. Wait, no. Made for about $1.29 is what this article says. That doesn't make $1.29.
Unless everyone was like, yeah, we're just going to do this for fun, and they already had a camera.
I've never read this website in my life, so I'm taking that with a grain of salt. I've never heard of it either. But I mean, it is showing up on lists of like on Reddit, movies made for under $20,000. So I mean, shit. Absolute mad props to them if they did that for under 20K. That's incredible.
Because like a lot of, I mean, going back to like the original, because I mean I hate all the sequels for it, but the original Paranormal Activity I was always a fan of. I always like, you know, just movies that it's like, you know, shot for like, you know, a few $1,000 and it's like just super effective. And if Blair Witch, you know, stuff like that. So if this movie does something like that, I might actually like it. I might check it out.
Yeah,
Shudder.
It's definitely not.
So I'll have a few movies for Shudder in October.
Yeah, you will. Honestly, Blair Witch might be more of the folk horror I'd probably say you're getting into, but it's not found footage. But that would probably be more of what you're getting into.
Yeah, because Blair Witch is definitely kind of like a folk horror-ish kind of atmosphere to it.
No, absolutely. Creature feature folk horror is what I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah,
check that one out. Yeah, an hour and a half, you can't, like you said, it's nothing that you're gonna get pissed about. If you don't like it. Yeah. I'll check that one out, man.
Yeah.
Let me see. That was number 4, right?
Yep. Second to last.
Let's do this one. So this one is actually one. I'm gonna put one that I just didn't like, if that's cool. Like, I'm actually gonna put one
You know,
that
I was actually
didn't
gonna
like.
surprise you and be like, "Hey, name the worst first time watch." So go for it. I was gonna tell you
This
that at
one,
the end.
and you're gonna be disappointed because you really liked this movie, and it's a newer movie, just came out last year.
Which
Blue
one?
Beetle.
Oh, dude, yeah, that movie's just pure nostalgia for me. Cause like,
Well, I know that's
wait,
like your
would you
favorite
rate it?
DC character.
Yeah, dude, I love Blue Beetle.
I'd give
Man.
it.
I have
It's not
all of his
atrocious.
comics.
It's not like I fucking hated it.
Yeah,
It's the acting, the story. It's just there are a lot of like I want to say like charming moments in it. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like that. There's a lot of charm to it. I'll give it that. Like especially with like him and his family, like the family dynamic and stuff. Like
Mhm.
that's where a lot of the charm comes from.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of just this vibe of like Marvel Phase 1, like, you know, I'm a superhero finding my powers kind of deal.
Yeah.
Like it just kind of reminded me about a lot of that stuff. And the story's just predictable and lame, and it's just big
Yeah.
old CGI battle fest at the end. Like it just didn't do anything for me. I'd probably give it like a 6. Like it's not
Yeah.
horrible, but it's just not, you know, it's not something I'd probably watch again. I mean, I guess the best parts about it are just like the family dynamics, and the lead does a great job. I don't know what that actor's name is.
Yeah, he's awesome. He was in Cobra Kai.
Okay, he does a solid job in the role. And his family's awesome, and the villain was kind of stupid. You know, that lady, the military lady, and the
Yeah.
dude who kind of. I mean, I don't want to spoil it for people in case they haven't seen it, but it's just predictable. It's just kind of boring. I mean, you had told me before that's your favorite DC hero of all time, right? Isn't it? Blue
Yeah,
Beetle?
I'd have to sit down and think. Yeah.
Or he's one of your top 5 for sure?
He'd be first or second. I'd have to sit down and think. Yeah, probably. I mean, I have I have the original before DC acquisition. I forget what the name of it was.
Mhm.
Fawcett Comics might have been that or something before DC bought the rights to it, and it was Ted Cord. But I have
Mhm.
his original Golden Age comic from like the 40s for
Oh,
that
that's
entire
pretty
run.
dope.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
cool.
I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah,
Yeah, a
you
lot of people shout out don't know that about me. I have a massive ass comic collection too that I haven't touched in like 3 years for some
yeah,
reason.
I have
But
some
yeah,
comics too just sitting there in boxes I need to start pulling out again. But it's just I don't know, man. It's just kind of lukewarm, kind of like end to the whole DC. Whatever. We still don't know what this movie is, right? It's like supposed to still be part of the new DC, but part of the old DC, and it's like this weird
yeah,
transitionary like movie. So I don't know what the hell James Gunn is gonna do with it. There's been worse with DC. I'll say that. I'll
yeah.
leave it at that. Yeah, but
I guess
I wasn't mind blown with it.
I agree with you. I think I genuinely gave that movie a 9. Now let me
Mhm.
explain myself. The reason is because that is actually how the comics are. They're
Mhm.
very tried and true. They're very formulaic, and you just really, really root for this guy because he's an innocent kid that just is one of the most innocent-minded people that just wants to
Yeah.
love and protect his family. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? He's a family guy that just got this weird power, and he doesn't go up against a world-ending threat. He's always going up against everybody else's B-list villains. And that's
Mhm.
exactly what happens in the movie. So like there's almost literally nothing you could do better in that without straying away from the formula of what Jaime Reyes is. Now, there's like a because of the Scarab, there's an entire DC Comics arc where like
Mhm.
more Beetles. I think it's called the Scarab Wars or something. It's right
Mhm.
after Final Crisis,
Hmm.
or whatever crisis it is. But it's like the Reach. There's like this species of people that actually manufacture these beetles essentially, and it
Okay.
becomes like this intergalactic war that he's a part of, and that's like the biggest thing he ever does. But just dude, I think the idea of it's fucking cool. You know, it's you're basically he's the equivalent of Iron Man, but he has a suit that's alive. You know, but
Yeah,
that was my problem with it is they try to make him like Iron Man, and that's not
exactly.
necessarily how it works in there. But if you really start comparing the comics from Iron Man to that, Blue Beetle
Mhm.
is kind of their Iron Man to a degree, but within a live suit. And he's been around since before Iron Man to that degree.
I would even argue this, man. I'll give it this. I think if this movie came out like during Phase 1 Marvel era, I think it
It'd be
would
a
have
cult
got
classic. Yeah.
it would have been well more received. Or even I
Yeah.
would even say like if it even came out before Aquaman, the first one, I
Yeah.
think people would have seen it as kind of like this charming kind of, you know, fun little superhero movie, but it's just like we've had the same formula so many times that it just
Yeah.
kind of drains it. I think it just came out maybe at the wrong time. I think if it came out earlier, I would have maybe bumped it up to like a 7, or if this was like the first time seeing something like this, it probably would have maybe been like a 7.5. But it's like because you've seen this like 20 times already, it just kind of like drains it in a way. But yeah, didn't have like an amazing time with it, but at least I'm caught up with the whole DC thing because it was annoying me. I'm like, I never saw Blue Beetle, and it was always in the back of my head. I was like, I need to watch it. Yeah,
yeah. One asterisk. I've seen all of them, but
yeah, exactly. So that was my number 4, Blue Beetle.
Okay, I can respect that. Now this one is actually they just got a second sight 4K, and I did a review. Still my favorite thumbnail I've ever done, by the way. That one was so fun to do.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
Green Room.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I just did the perfect pose, everything. Go check out that review. Go support that one. I love that fucking thumbnail. So Green Room, man. What a banger of a movie. Jeremy Saulnier. Wow, like how do you really talk about this movie without me potentially pissing people off because of the subject matter of it? It's extremely relevant to today. It deals with the fact that you're not quite sure if there's real like neo-Nazis around in this world. And it just kicks the fucking door in and says, "Yep, we're here, motherfucker."
Yeah.
You know? It's got, I would say, take the aesthetic whenever like Scott Pilgrim is playing his guitar, you know, like the cinematography and not the cartooniness of it, but like the movement style, like you make that grungy and turn it into a little bit of a horror thriller movie, and you get Green Room because it's all about this punk rock band that gets put into a green room. And so they essentially have to start defending themselves against these neo-Nazis. And guess who their leader is? None other than Captain Picard himself, Patrick Stewart. So it's quite crazy to see him in that role.
Like a redneck, yeah.
Yeah, dude. He's like just this super neo-Nazi, and it's just very interesting. The ending is crazy, and rest in peace, Anton Yelchin. This was one of his last roles, I want to say. I think it was like third or fourth the last role that he did. Could be wrong, but absolute talent, man. He's so good, man. Fun fact about the movie, every single person that was a part of that band had no idea how to play an instrument and learned it for the movie. So then whenever they're performing all of their songs during like their concert at the beginning, that's actually them all performing live right there.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, dude. So that's actually Anton Yelchin saying like something about like, "We are the rebels." Like it sounds terrible, but I mean, mad credit.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's pretty fucking amazing just seeing actors being able to do that. Especially like, I mean, you can see it in a lot of movies where they learn an instrument just to get through some scenes, but like to be able to perform something as a band, I think that's a little bit more. Yeah, that's like a different dynamic.
Yeah. And the 4K looks incredible. It's probably going to end up topping out the bottom, like my releases this year for physical media releases. One of my favorite things on my shelf. I am so happy I saw that movie for the first time. Absolute gem.
And you said it's getting a second sight release?
No, that one came out in March.
Oh, it came out already.
Yeah, because that's the YouTube one that the one where it's got me like this with an air guitar.
Oh, okay, yeah, that was for this. Gotcha. Yeah,
that was for the second sight one. Yeah, that whole unboxing video.
Shit, man.
Since you already gave one that you didn't like, I'll let you finish it off with your fifth one. I just need to rant about how fucking awful the Children of the Corn movies are.
I think we've talked about this, haven't we? I think we. I remember, dude. I know personally we have, but I don't know if we have like on. Yeah. We both don't like children. I don't. Yeah. I've never liked Children of the Corn.
I watched all 11 of them, bro. Did you know there's 11 of them?
No. I'm good on that.
11 of them, bro.
Oh, no.
It's just my thing was because like I'm putting 11 films into one bubble. They're not the worst thing ever made, but I think it's probably the worst horror franchise. I still got to get to Witchcraft because there's 15 of those. I've never even heard of the first one before I knew there was 15 of those ones. But it's like when you hear there's 11 of them outside of the original and 2 remakes, it's like, what story do you have to tell? If you've seen Children of the Corn, it's a pretty finite story. Why do you need so many different sequels? And I was just watching them to try to figure out like, hey, is there something going on here? Dude, the only one that was even remotely okay in my eyes was the 8th one. I despise the first one. The second one's bad. I think I gave all of them a 1.5 star because like the child actors do a good job, and inherently the idea of Children of the Corn is not too terrible. I just think it's all executed poorly. New one was probably my favorite one out of all of them, and it's still bad. So yeah,
Shit.
you never need to watch Children of the Corn. I know there's people that
Yeah.
absolutely love the original. I don't like it. It's a little bit of a hot take, but the rest of them, I know that's not a hot take. If you like any of those sequels, that's crazy.
You know what though? I could be wrong. I mean, if anyone, disagrees or wants to comment down below or let us know in Discord or whatever. I don't think I've met someone online that generally has told me that they like Children of the Corn.
Oh,
Most
that's
people
great.
I've talked to, yeah, I mean,
I said that's great because then they got common sense.
yeah, no, I'm curious, like, because
Yeah.
I want to know what people, I mean, why you like it so much? Because like I saw the original, I hated it. Like,
Yeah,
I didn't,
Yeah, it's bad.
I didn't get anything out of it. I don't think it's scary. I don't think the premise is even that interesting or intriguing. Like you said, I guess the child actors do a good job for the role they're supposed to portray. But it's like I just never got anything out of it. But at the same time, in retrospect, thinking about it, I've never met someone that's like, yeah, Children of the Corn. So it's like I don't know why they would make 11 sequels of this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I mean, have you seen people that are like super excited for like Children of the Corn?
Well, since I hate on it so hard, there's been some people that have like kind of told me, what is it I'm thinking of? Like they enjoy it, but I don't know anybody that would give it more than a 6 out of 10. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's just intriguing of like, I get other movies like, like cult franchises and stuff like that where, people just kind of want to keep seeing installments coming up. But this one's like kind of weird where they've made so many movies and I don't feel like I've noticed or seen like this genuine
an audience
fan base. Yeah, for like Children of the Corn. I'm like, who are you showing this to? Like, who's this for? I don't get it.
That one guy that bought all of them.
Yeah, I know,
They
right?
made them all for him.
Blockbuster.
Yeah,
Rented
that
them
one
all.
guy that was renting it continuously and all those overdue fees. They were making so much money off of them.
Does Will like Children of the Corn? I don't think he does.
I
either,
hope
right?
not. Let me check his
I'm gonna ask
letterbox.
him that.
I'll let you know after you go on your 5th one.
Yeah, let me know. I mean, the 5th one. So this one's kind of a recent one too, man. It slipped under my radar because I wanted to see it theatrically last year and I just didn't. It is actually The Boy and the Heron to get a animated movie up there. Did you watch The Boy and the Heron?
Did that come out this year or last year?
Came out last year, actually, 2023.
Did it really?
Yeah, it felt like it was this year, dude.
Dude, I could have sworn I saw that in IMAX. Just
Release
like,
date July 14th, 2023. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, it was good.
I really enjoyed it, man. I don't think it's like this. A lot of people came to me saying like it was like this masterpiece. Like it's like, one of the best things that they've seen in terms of an animated feature in a long time. I didn't have that feeling with it. But it is a genuine, like fun, like creative movie that just kind of it just takes you to so many different places, man. I mean, and this is another one that's kind of hard to describe because I mean, I can give you the description. It's about this kid that his dad works like as I think he's like an air, like his company like develops aircrafts for Japan. Like, and I think this takes place like in World War II era, World War I or World War II era. And his dad, makes company. His company makes aircrafts for Japan. His mom died in a hospital fire. No spoiler there. It's like the first like 5 minutes of the movie. And he's going to live with this is like his new stepmom, pretty much. You know what I mean? Like I guess in those times it was just more like, which is kind of interesting with Japanese culture. Like I guess like back then, if your wife died and she had a sister, it was like formality, like almost like you'd marry the sister kind of deal. So the dad marries the sister, so that's like his new stepmom pretty much. So it's about this kid and he's just having this like acclimation adjustment period, right, where it's like, okay, like this is my new mom, this is my new house, this is what he obviously is in grief over his mom. And he sees this heron and it's like this, it just starts talking to him. And then all this crazy stuff starts happening. And you're thrown into this weird world where, you're like in this like ocean world and like you get taken to this kingdom. And it's like, it's so hard to describe because it's just very much almost like an artsy movie, kind of like 8.5 is. But it's done so well and it's so beautifully animated and it's a fun ride. You're never going to be bored with it. I don't think it reached the peaks of what I know a lot of people like loved it. They were giving it like 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I was looking at the reviews. The lowest review on here is a 7 out of 10 that I have on my friends list.
Shit. Well, now I feel bad. Well, I guess 8 out of 10 is not bad. I still enjoyed it. I think maybe I'll bump it up to 8.5 if I have to. But it's a solid movie. It's a really, really good movie. If you want to see just kind of like a really cool animated feature, And especially like with what I understand, because I haven't seen this guy. I always butcher his name too. Miyazaki, I think is how you say his
Yeah.
name. He's
Miyazaki.
done Spirited Away. He did
all the Ghibli, most of the Ghibli movies.
yeah. Just he does amazing animation. You know what I mean? Especially a lot of like hand drawn animation, which you don't see too much anymore. So it's beautiful to look at. Even if you just sit there just to watch it and see how beautiful it is, like you're gonna have a good time. There's no way, like even that person that rated it a 7 out of 10, the animation itself would just warrant a 7 out of 10 just watching it. Like it's just a really, really good movie. And I think it had a steelbook release and I missed it. I could be wrong. Where they just came out
all
with
of
a steelbook.
them. Oh yeah, they're still around. You can still get it.
Wasn't it like a new one though, like a new steelbook release for it? I could be wrong.
No, it just came out like in the top of August on.
Oh, okay, so I didn't miss it.
It just took a while. Yeah, no, they're still around on. It was a Walmart exclusive.
Oh, okay. Well, I might pick
you
it
can
up.
still get 'em.
Honestly, it's a really, really good movie. I saw the English dub for it just because I don't know. Sometimes I get lazy with animation. I just can't do the Japanese dub. Even the same thing with anime. I just watch English dub, and I'm gonna get probably shit on for that, but that's just how I watch it. But
yeah, people have opinions on that, but I just before anybody, somebody's probably got their keyboard up in the comments below.
Yeah,
before
probably.
As long as you're watching it, I don't see why it matters. That's always been my thing.
That's my opinion. Yeah,
when it comes to anime, you're still watching the same material.
Well, it's weird because like like when I was on the Japanese movie binger, like I watch all my Japanese movies with like obviously like the Japanese audio and then English subtitles. But for some reason with like animation, like I need to watch it English dub. I have no idea why. Like it's this weird thing mentally, but it's a great movie, dude. I wish I had seen it in theaters. I think it would have been a really, really cool experience to see this in IMAX. Yeah, in IMAX especially. Like I think that would have been a great experience. Yeah. Limax pretty much. But yeah, that's my number 5, dude. The Boy and the Heron. Solid like 8 out of 10.
Another dishonorable mention to close this out?
Dishonorable mention. I don't know. I'd have to think of that. I don't.
Or maybe just a quick one just to throw out there. Since I technically had 6.
I'm trying to think.
Didn't you watch Tokyo Gore Police this year?
Was that this year? I don't even remember anymore.
It was either around this time last year.
Yeah, I mean, I could just throw that one out there under the bus again and just say it's probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Dude, I gave it a 5. It's so crazy how differently we enjoyed that movie.
So, oh my god, dude, I wouldn't even give it a 1. I wish I could just like, and on Letterboxd, I think you have to give it half a star, right?
You can just log that you watched it,
but to review it, you technically have to give it half a star.
Yeah.
I don't even think
you want to hurt the rating.
A 5th of the star. Like I think, like I wish I could just give it like a little triangle,
just a barely noticeable
a little
yellow
pixel. Yeah, like fuck that movie, man. I'm never. Why did you say there was a sequel to that? I don't remember if you said that.
No, the guy's done other movies though.
Yeah,
movie was made in 2 weeks.
Another good one, not a bad one, but a good one. Just to shout it out real quick is the one you had me watch. That had that John Wick kind of opening with the camera. The Villainous, or what was it? What's the name? Is it the Villainous?
The Korean one.
Yeah, the Korean one. What's the name of it?
Yeah, the one that completely inspired the motorcycle sequence in John Wick 3. Yeah, the Villainous.
What is the villain? Is that what the title is?
Yeah, the Villainous.
Yeah,
that almost 3 hours
movie,
long.
dude. Yeah, great fucking movie, man. Just to shout that one out because that was the first time I had seen it. You had recommended it to me. I think after I saw the audition, actually. That's what. Funny enough, I think I saw the audition and then I remember the Villainous. Yeah. So,
I remember that,
dude, that movie's great. I actually need to buy the Blu-ray for it. I wish they would do a 4K, but I think I'll just splurge on the Blu-ray. Yeah, it's such a great freaking movie. If you guys never seen it, I think it's South Korean. I don't remember if it's it's South Korean movie. Just the action, some of the best action scenes that I've seen in a long time, and you could definitely see how John Wick was definitely influenced by the Villainous because it's just super top notch. Like you don't see something like that here in the States in terms of action movies outside of John Wick. That kind of like blows your mind, and you're like, wow, that's just super creative and super fun to watch. So shout out to that movie as an honorable mention.
Yeah, and that opening sequence that's a lot like Hardcore Henry was insane.
Yeah,
that movie blends so much. It's great.
Yeah, it's a great fucking
movie. The bathroom scene, dude,
top notch.
Yeah, it's great. I actually watched that movie in the wildest way ever. I watched it not in Korean with English subtitles Tubi only had the Spanish one with English subtitles.
What?
So I was, dude, I had 3 different things going on at once while
What
I'm
the
watching that
hell?
movie.
That must
But
be
it was
trippy as well.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
dude,
so
it was
good.
great.
Oh man, such a good movie.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll probably do another episode of this because I feel like that is just the paradigm now. Is a lot of people are just going back and watching older movies, and that could be just because there hasn't been a lot of really good movies. I mean, I think 2024 is actually done pretty good in terms of movie releases. There's a lot of good movies that have come out this year, but I think especially when COVID happened, we were just kind of in this rut where a lot of movies weren't coming out and people were just tracing back to going, to seeing things that they hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can probably do another one of these. And we wanted to do it with Will today, but he got busy. But I think doing one with Will would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, because he watches a lot of niche things. He's been on a creature feature bender lately, so stay tuned. He plans on dropping a video about creature features and doing a tier list of his favorite creature feature horror movies. So keep a lookout for that, guys.
All right, guys. Catch you later.
Later, everybody.